Listen carefully. I'm not here to motivate you. I'm not here to comfort you. I'm here to tell you the truth most people avoid. You're broke. Not because you're unintelligent. Not because the economy is unfair. Not because you weren't born lucky. And not because you don't work hard. You're broke because of how you spend your money. That statement makes people uncomfortable, and discomfort is exactly why so many stay poor. It's easier to blame the system. Inflation your boss or bad timing. Blame feels good. Responsibility does not. But money doesn't respond to feelings. It responds to decisions. Wealth is not destroyed in one dramatic collapse. It erodes slowly, quietly through everyday choices you've normalized. Small purchases that feel harmless. Habits you justify because everyone does it. Expenses that give you a short burst of pleasure and lock you into long-term stress. Hard work alone has never created wealth. Millions of people work hard every day and remain broke their entire lives. Effort is common. Intelligent allocation of money is rare. That difference is everything. Most people believe earning more will solve their problems. It won't. If your spending behavior stays the same, higher income only increases the size of your mistakes. You don't fix a leaking bucket by pouring more water into it. This is the moment where paths split. One path prioritizes comfort approval and immediate gratification. That path leads to permanent financial pressure. The other path prioritizes discipline, foresight, and delayed reward. That path leads to leverage, freedom, and control. In the next parts, I'm going to expose 5 categories of spending that quietly sabotage your financial future. Not opinions, not motivational theory, real behaviors that trap people regardless of how much they earn. This isn't about deprivation, it's about intelligence. If you can tolerate the truth, keep listening. If you can't, nothing that follows will change your outcome. Most people think wealth is complicated. It isn't. The difference between those who build wealth and those who stay broke comes down to one fundamental principle that almost no one truly understands. Rich people buy assets. Poor people buy liabilities and convince themselves they're assets. That's the entire game. An asset puts money into your pocket. It works while you sleep. It grows without your constant effort. A liability does the opposite. It drains money from you every month and demands your time, your attention, and your future income just to exist. The problem is not that people buy liabilities. The problem is that they mislabel them. They tell themselves comforting lies. They call consumption an investment. They call expenses rewards. They call financial mistakes deserved. That mental error is what keeps people stuck. If you buy something and it immediately starts costing you money instead of making you money, it is not an asset. It doesn't matter how good it feels. It doesn't matter how society talks about it. It doesn't matter how expensive it was. Money doesn't care about your intentions. It only reacts to structure. This is why 2 people with the same income can end up in completely different financial positions. One funnels money into things that multiply. The other funnels money into things that decay. Over time, the gap becomes impossible to ignore. Poor thinking focuses on appearance. Wealthy thinking focuses on function. Poor thinking asks, does this make me look successful? Wealthy thinking asks, does this produce more money or more leverage? Once you understand this distinction, everything else becomes obvious. Your spending choices stop being emotional and start being strategic. You stop asking what you can afford and start asking what actually serves your future. If you don't understand the difference between assets and liabilities, no amount of income will ever save you. If you do understand it, even modest income can be turned into serious wealth. This principle is simple. It's also brutal. Now let me be very clear about what this is not. This is not about skipping coffee. This is not about guilt. This is not about living a miserable, joyless life. Anyone who tells you wealth is built by obsessing over tiny comforts is missing the point. The real damage doesn't come from one small purchase. It comes from patterns, entire categories of spending that quietly bleed you over decades. There are 5 of them. 5 types of purchases that feel normal, socially accepted, even encouraged, yet systematically destroy your ability to build real wealth. Most people never question them because everyone around them is doing the same thing. Normal behavior, unfortunately, produces average results. And average results financially are failure. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, if retirement feels like a fantasy instead of a plan, if every raise somehow disappears without changing your life, the cause isn't mysterious. It's structural. Your money is being routed into places that cannot grow. Before I break these 5 down, understand this: money is not a toy. It's not a reward system for surviving another stressful week. Money is a tool. And like any tool, if you misuse it, it works against you. Most people use money to buy relief. Relief from boredom. Relief from stress. Relief from comparison. That relief is temporary, but the financial damage is permanent. Building wealth requires a shift most people resist. You stop asking, "Will this make me feel good right now?" and start asking, "What does this cost me over the next 10, 20, 30 years?" That question changes everything. The 5 categories I'm about to lay out are uncomfortable because they're familiar. You've probably bought all of them. Almost everyone has. The difference is what you do. Do you become aware? Awareness gives you a choice. Ignore it and stay exactly where you are. Act on it, and your entire financial trajectory changes. Let's start with the first one. The first thing you need to stop buying immediately is brand new cars. This is where people get emotional, and emotion is exactly why this mistake is so expensive. A new car feels like success. It smells like success. Society tells you it means you're doing well. Financially, it means the opposite. The moment you drive a new car off the lot, it loses 20 to 30% of its value. Instantly. No debate. No exception. Thousands of dollars disappear for the privilege of being the first owner. Within a year, you're down roughly 30%. In 3 years, about half of what you paid is gone. That's not transportation. That's depreciation wrapped in metal. What makes this even worse is how people buy these cars. They finance them. They take loans at 5, 6, 7% interest to purchase something that is losing value every single day. You're paying interest on a declining object. That is not a mistake. That is financial self-harm. And leasing is even worse. Leasing means you're renting a depreciating asset. At the end of the lease, you own nothing. No equity, no asset. Just a stack of payments you'll never get back. You didn't buy a car. You paid a company for the temporary illusion of ownership. People always respond with excuses. I need reliability. I have a family. I need something dependable for work. Of course you do. Reliability does not require a brand new car. Let someone else take the depreciation hit. Buy a 3-year-old certified pre-owned vehicle. You get reliability, often a warranty, and you pay a fraction of the price. That's not being cheap. That's being intelligent. When I was building my first company, I drove an old, unimpressive car. It wasn't exciting. It didn't boost my ego, but it protected my capital. And capital is what builds wealth. Here's the difference most people never understand. Poor people spend money to look rich. Wealthy people spend money to get richer. You cannot do both at the same time. The car you drive tells people nothing about your financial strength. Your balance sheet does. Every dollar burned on unnecessary depreciation is a dollar that isn't invested, isn't compounding, and isn't working for your future. This is the first major financial mistake most people make, and it sets the tone for everything that follows. They prioritize appearing successful over actually becoming successful. And that mindset is expensive. The next mistake is even more dangerous because society tells you it's responsible. It tells you it's smart. It tells you it's the foundation of adulthood. Buying too much house. You've been taught your entire life that your home is your biggest asset. That belief has kept more people financially trapped than almost any other lie. The house you live in is not an asset. It is a liability. Here's the rule, and it's non-negotiable. If something takes money out of your pocket every month, it is not an asset. Your house drains money continuously. Mortgage payments, property taxes, insurance, maintenance, utilities, repairs, landscaping. The bigger the house, the bigger the drain. It doesn't stop. It never takes a break. It just keeps pulling. People say, but real estate always goes up. No. Sometimes it goes up. In some places, at some times. Ask the people who bought at the peak and watched their equity evaporate. Ask the people who are underwater right now. And even when your home does increase in value, that money is locked. You can't spend it without selling the place you live in or borrowing against it, meaning more debt, more interest, more risk. This is where debt separates winners from losers. Debt used to acquire assets can accelerate wealth. Debt used to acquire liabilities accelerates poverty. When you borrow to build a business or buy productive investments, you're using leverage intelligently. When you borrow to buy a bigger house than you need, you're chaining your future income to a lifestyle expense. Here's the part most people don't want to hear. Banks are not your financial advisors. They don't care about your freedom. They care about interest. When a bank approves you for a certain amount, that number is not what's good for you, it's what maximizes profit for them. If a bank says you can afford a $500,000, $1,000 house, and you buy it, you've already lost. Over a 30-year mortgage, that $500,000 house quietly turns into $800,000 or more once interest is counted. Hundreds of thousands of dollars transferred from you to the bank for the privilege of borrowing. That is not wealth building. That is wealth extraction. The intelligent move is simple and uncomfortable. Buy half of what the bank says you can afford. If they approve you for $500,000, buy $250,000. Smaller, less impressive, less emotional. And then take the difference. The money you're not sending to the bank every month and invest it. Build a portfolio. Buy assets that compound. Put your money to work instead of working for your lender. This is why truly wealthy people live below their means. Not because they have to, but because they understand opportunity cost. Every unnecessary dollar tied up in a house is a dollar that can't grow somewhere else. Comfort feels good today. Freedom feels better forever. And most people trade the second for the first without realizing what it costs them. The third thing quietly keeping you poor is something people defend aggressively because it's tied to convenience and lifestyle. Eating out, constantly. Restaurants, takeout, coffee shops, delivery apps, quick lunches, too tired to cook dinners. None of it feels dangerous. That's why it works so well at draining you. Most people have no idea how much they're actually spending on food outside the home. It doesn't feel like a major expense because it's fragmented. $10 here, $15 there, $30 for dinner, $50 on the weekend. But when you add it up over a year, the number is ugly. The average person spends thousands every year eating out. Now here's the part that actually matters. That same money invested consistently over time turns into serious wealth. Not motivational wealth. Real numbers. Retirement-level money. Financial freedom. And you trade all of that for convenience and meals you barely remember a day later. What makes this worse is the excuse people use. I don't have money to invest. Then they spend $15 on lunch without hesitation. You do have the money. You're just spending it on things that disappear instead of things that grow. That's not a money problem. That's a priority problem. This isn't about never eating out. It's about being intentional. Cook at home most of the time. Prepare meals in advance. Bring your lunch. Make your coffee yourself. These are not sacrifices. They are strategic reallocations of cash flow. When you do eat out, make it meaningful. Make it occasional. Make it deliberate. Not a default behavior because you're bored, stressed, or unprepared. Here's the mindset difference again. Poor thinking believes small expenses don't matter. Wealthy thinking understands that small leaks sink ships. Tiny repeated expenses compound in the wrong direction. Over years, they quietly erase your future. Eating out every day feels harmless. Financially, it's one of the most expensive habits you can maintain. If you want wealth, you have to respect the value of each dollar, because every dollar wasted on convenience is a dollar that could have been working for you instead. And most people never realize what they've traded until it's too late. The fourth problem isn't about one purchase. It's about a mindset that's been programmed into you, constantly buying clothes and accessories you don't need. This isn't just about luxury brands or designer labels, although those are some of the fastest ways to burn money. It's about the endless cycle of upgrading. New outfits for every season. New sneakers because everyone else has them. Clothes worn once or twice and then forgotten. Your closet is probably full, and yet you keep buying more. Not because you need them, but because you've been trained to believe that looking current, updated, and impressive matters. It doesn't. No one is tracking how often you repeat an outfit. No one cares what you wore last week. And the people who judge you based on clothing are not people whose opinions should influence your financial decisions. What actually matters is what you're building, your net worth, your independence, your ability to walk away from situations you don't want to be in. None of that comes from a better wardrobe. This is consumption disguised as identity. You're not buying clothes. You're buying reassurance. You're buying belonging. You're buying the illusion that upgrading your appearance upgrades your life. It doesn't. Industries are built on this insecurity. Fashion tech lifestyle brands, they survive by convincing you that what you have isn't enough, that you need the new version, the updated version, the better version. And every time you believe that message, your money moves further away from you. Wealthy thinking rejects trends. It prioritizes durability and function. Buy quality. Buy what lasts. Wear it until it actually wears out. Then replace it without emotion and move on. Your money has more important jobs than signaling status to strangers. It can buy time. It can buy freedom. It can buy leverage. Or it can sit in a closet, depreciating silently. Your value has nothing to do with what you wear. It has everything to do with what you build. And confusing those two ideas is expensive. The final thing draining your future is the one almost everyone ignores because it feels small, harmless, and automatic. Subscriptions and memberships you don't use. Gym memberships you rarely show up for. Streaming services you forgot you even have. Apps with monthly fees that renew quietly. Software subscriptions you don't need. premium plans for things you could get for free. $10 here, $15 there, month after month. It doesn't feel painful, so you don't stop it. That's the trap. This is what financial leakage looks like. Not a dramatic mistake, just a slow, constant drip that never stops. And because it's spread out, you don't feel it until you finally look at your bank statement and realize how much is gone. If you sat down and listed every recurring charge, you'd be shocked. You're almost certainly paying for multiple things you haven't used in months. Companies know this. Their business model depends on you forgetting. On you being too busy or too lazy to cancel. Cancel them immediately. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. This is money you're giving away for nothing. And worse than the money itself is what these subscriptions represent. A mindset of constant consumption, constant stimulation, constant distraction. You don't need endless entertainment. You don't need unlimited access. You need direction. Every dollar tied to a useless subscription is a dollar not invested, not compounding, not building your future. When people reach old age and can't afford to stop working, it's rarely because of one big mistake. It's because of thousands of small ones they never questioned. This is one of the easiest problems to fix, and that's why ignoring it is so damaging. It requires no sacrifice, no skill, no extra income, just awareness and action. If you want your money to respect you, you have to respect where it goes. And most people never do. Now bring everything together and look at the pattern. New cars, oversized houses, constant eating out, unnecessary clothes, useless subscriptions. Each one looks normal on its own. Socially accepted, even encouraged. But together they form a system that guarantees one outcome: you stay broke no matter how much you earn. This is why income is a terrible measure of wealth. I've seen people making modest salaries build serious net worth because they controlled these 5 areas. And I've seen people earning 6 figures living paycheck to paycheck because they refused to. Money flows where structure allows it to flow. If your financial system is built around consumption status and convenience, the result is predictable. Your money enters and immediately exits. Nothing stays long enough to grow. Wealth is not about perfection. It's about alignment. When your spending aligns with long-term outcomes instead of short-term emotions, everything changes. The pressure eases. Options expand. Time starts working in your favor. Most people never fix the structure. They chase raises instead. They switch jobs. They hope the next income bump will finally make life easier. It rarely does because the leaks are still there. Once you eliminate these 5 drains, something interesting happens. You don't feel deprived. You feel lighter. Your cash flow improves. Your stress drops. And for the first time, your money starts accumulating instead of vanishing. This is the turning point most people never reach. They know what to do, but they don't do it because it's uncomfortable. Because it requires saying no. Because it requires breaking habits that feel normal. But normal behavior produces average results. And average financial results mean dependence, stress, and limited choices. If you want a different outcome, you need a different structure. And that starts with cutting what shouldn't be there in the first place. Here's the bottom line. Stop buying new cars. Stop buying more house than you need. Stop eating out like it's harmless. Stop buying things to impress people who don't matter. Stop paying for subscriptions you don't use. These 5 decisions matter more than your salary. They matter more than your job title. They matter more than how hard you think you work. I've seen people with low incomes build real wealth because they understood this, and I've seen people with high incomes stay trapped because they ignored it. This isn't complicated. It's just uncomfortable. You can keep doing what you're doing and stay exactly where you are. Or you can cut the waste, change the structure, and let time work for you instead of against you. There is no middle ground. Comfort and wealth rarely coexist in the same phase of life. Money doesn't care about your intentions. It doesn't care about your excuses. It only responds to your decisions. Most people choose short-term comfort and pay for it with long-term stress. A few choose discipline, patience, and delayed gratification, and buy themselves freedom. Don't be most people. If this forced you to look at your habits differently, act on it. Not emotionally, structurally. Identify what needs to be cut and cut it. Reallocate that money into assets that compound and grow. Stop buying stupid things. Start building leverage. That's how you win. That's how you get rich.